Time for the Ashland County Board of Commissioners to come to order. I'd like to welcome each and every one of y'all here tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
Always good to see faces here. At this time, we're going to do the pledge, and Mr. Ronnie Ritz is going to do Ronnie Lewis is going to do the invocation for us. Twice I've done that on you. Let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for the blessings that you provide for us each and every day that we go. Lord, we thank you for everything that you do or you're going to do for us, the plans that are ahead. You know what holds tomorrow. Lord, we in here today as citizens of this county and our members of this board trying to decide direction that we need to go. We pray for your direction in that. We ask for your leadership and guidance in it. Lord, we pray that there's no divisions. It's all together what would be glorified unto you. We pray for the people standing downstairs, for the ones upstairs. We lift them up and pray that we would be inside your will with what is said and done here today, and we bring glory to your name. This we pray in Lord's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ron. At this time, I will ask you to silence your phones if you don't mind. You don't have to turn them off, just silence them, please. We got approval that we had a meeting on June 7th, call meeting on June 16th, call meeting on June 21st, call meeting on June 28th. Do y'all want to approve all those at one time, or do you want to take them one at a time?
All at one time.
All right, I need a motion then to approve them all at one time.
I'll make that motion.
Sarah made the motion, I have a second.
I'll second.
Charlie Leggett, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, there was one correction that possibly we need to make on the June 7th meeting. It just listed the sales tax on the end of it. It should be the lost and the splost on that, just a wording change.
That's on the 7th or 16th?
The 7th on our regular meeting.
Okay.
And that was the next to the last statement in the county manager's report, or the last statement actually in the county manager's report.
You want to leave that okay with you, Miss Sarah?
Yeah, that's fine.
Changes?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have any presentation. We don't have any proclamations. Miss Ann Singer with Appling Health Center, Heritage Center. I'm sorry, Appling Heritage Center is going to come. Miss Ann, if you will, you have 5 minutes.
I won't take that long.
That's all right.
I want to thank y'all for being so supportive of us, allocating funds. I got involved with this years and years ago when I worked at Baxley Wilderness Institute, and they needed somebody to come up and clean and work up there, and we took our boys up there, and that's how I got involved in it. And I appreciate more than you know the support that y'all have been giving us. Not everybody knows that we have a museum there, and we have lots and lots of artifacts and lots of paperwork. We have family histories, we have pictures, we have old Appling County history. I brought one thing tonight to show everybody. There was a jail on the corner of 341 and US 1 right next to the courthouse at one time, and these are the keys to it. Can you imagine
Remember that?
the size of a lock that would fit these keys? It had to be big, right? So anytime anybody has a group of kids or young people or a church group, classroom, if you'll call the Heritage Center, we will set aside a time for a tour. We're looking for people to come and look, come and and volunteer. We have an unbelievable amount of things that people have donated. We just got a new box in, and I was showing Mr. Deal a newspaper article that his wife's family's in. It was back when Mr. Veal had dove shoots and fox hunts out at Veal's Hill with his family. So one way that we continue to have the Heritage Center open is through membership. And we're working on a membership drive right now, and I am extending an invitation to each of you, hand delivered. I don't ask for a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ann.
I did not write your
Thank you,
names
ma'am.
on them. But we would appreciate the consideration. You already have one.
I'm already a member.
Well, that's why you're so good at what you do. Anybody else that's interested in one? I'd appreciate it. The last thing I want to mention is the Parkway. We appreciate all the help that y'all had with the Parkway. We're in the process of replacing trees. At one time, there were Bradford pears there, and as you know, Bradford pears are not indigenous to Appleton County, so we are changing those out to red maples, and from now on, we'll have red maples, and they won't be cracking and breaking and causing such a mess. So, with that being said, thank you so much. This is something that involves everybody. And I will tell you that the People of the Year that's going in the Hall of Fame is the Jack Summerall family. I'm not sure if y'all know them or know of them, but I believe that family is as populated as the Eastons and the Tillmans in Appleton County. So thank you again, and I appreciate everything y'all do for us.
Before you sit down, let me ask you one question, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Those new trees that you're putting out there, I know that there's a lot of that land been cleared up for farming, spraying blueberries and all. How are they gonna deal with the spray off of those blueberries?
We're going to be working with the county extension agency and county farm plant company. We're going to try to have a collaboration of people working on it, and we're also looking at some grant funding and some partnerships with y'all, with county farm. We're working on it right now to set the groundwork for it. It shouldn't be just one group of people doing it, because if you've ever seen it, it's really neat when you go and see all the different people that are.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked the question, is, you know, I know those Bradford pear trees, as we got into that one time here on this board, we were talking about setting some over here at the county, around the county courthouse, and we got the information from people that those trees was actually designed for indoors, like malls and all over
Well,
there.
they're actually invasive species.
Yeah.
And we don't need them here.
And I know out there on where that farms have been cleared and all the blueberries are set, most all of them down through there, you know, had died. I didn't know if it was from that blueberry or what it was.
The curator, Miss Betty Sauls, and I went the other day, and if somebody had seen us, they would have thought we were trying to steal something out there. We were driving real slow, trying to make sure who had signs, who had trees. So we're going to rejuvenate it and make it more indigenous to Appleton County with the red maples. Any more questions?
Hey, Sam, if you don't mind, I'd like to see that picture of that jail.
I remember walking by coming to town when we would go to the drugstores
Oh, yeah.
to get stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they get.
Never was in it, but I do remember that.
I wasn't in it either. But the prisoners would holler out the windows at me. I was scared of them. Thank you so much. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Miss
y'all.
Ann, for bringing that to us and our information. Mr. John Nail, I don't think he's with us from Ryland, so we'll move on to C, Mr. Rayner, Ernest J. Parker Pool Park and Splot.
Okay, we see that seems to be a unfinished or undecided support for that park. Now, the community, again, has provided input and made some requests to that, and I feel like the community has basically got together, got committed to support the park, to help clean it up, to help manage it, to help be part of the recreation department. But they don't seem to think the county commissioners are interested in the park at all. The funding has been limited. They're not sure what happened along the way. When the city had it, it was kept in pretty good shape, and it was well supported by the city. When the county took it over, it appears that the county started losing interest in the park, and the park therefore began to be degraded. Again, as we said once before, the pool has actually reached its life. I mean, 54 years.
Mike, would you speak into that microphone where I can hear you?
Yes, the park, I mean, the pool has actually, exceeded its life expectancy. We do think a new pool would definitely help. Now, one thing about it, once you get the community involved, they're involved. And they're committed, and, they don't understand why there's a hesitation or resentment not to fund the new pool. In 2018 Splosh, I was on that Splosh committee, as said before, and money was earmarked for that new pool. Confirmation in the 2020 audit report showed $450,000 for the pool project, because pool construction. We don't know what got lost or what happened to that. And again, the citizens in District 1 and 2 feel like they're not getting a fair share of the revenue that's coming in. The problem is not the money. We get enough money to support that park through the Splosh, through the regular budgets, and even now we've gotten additional money through the CARES Act, American Rescue Act, designated for lower poverty income areas to help in those areas. We don't know, but once you get a community behind you, I think we can really make a difference there. And basically, so what the community is doing is providing feedback. And when you get feedback, you got to have feedback from the community to know if you're doing your job, to know if you're spending your money in the right place, or your priorities in the right place. Because, again, if you can spend the money after something happened, we're good at being proactive. Reactive. But we want to be proactive in the community and save the children. Now, once something happened or the children go away, we'll spend unlimited money on locking them up, sending them to prison or whatever, but what about up front? We're not willing to invest in the youth in the community, and it costs a whole lot less. As my ancestor said, stitch 9 and time saves 9. I mean, we spend millions of dollars, afterwards, but we're trying to get together, get the community back together, get them there, get the park back to where it needs to be. We have a lot of children in District 1, District 2 that need help. The pipeline from school to prison is not an answer, okay? The safety ought to be from the time they're born or whatever on up all the way through. Because if we don't make a difference in their life now, then we're gonna pay for it afterwards. You're talking a tune of $40,000 to $45,000 a year per inmate in maximum security prison. Money is not an option. And they don't hesitate to spend that money. They don't hesitate to build another prison, to build another jail. Whatever the sheriff sent over and say his need, no question asked, we write it off. But the community is asking for some help up front to help save these children. And if we don't do it, who's gonna do it? Nobody. So we're asking you to reconsider, take the input from the community, and let's prioritize some actions. Spending all our money on roads is not the answer. The children should come first. These youth are coming first. Because if we can't show that we care about them now, when you explain to the community that the pool was unsafe, they bought it. They said, okay, that's a good idea. We buy that. They got together and say, good, let's give you a year or whatever to get act together, to get the funds together and build a new pool. They had no problem with that. They understand. It's not a light switch. But we still cannot, and we're here in the budget process, and we still cannot get a commitment from the commissioners. The SPLOST money was earmarked in 2018. And we ask you now, put it in the budget, we'll do something. But the park is gonna go down if you do not. And children are gonna be lost. That's just the way it is. So again, we ask you to reconsider, to think about it, and let's show some support for these youth, especially now that we got the parents involved. And we don't wanna lose them because they're ready to go, they're ready to help with the park, they're ready to help with the recreation department, and they're ready to provide some input. So let's think about that. Let's make a decision that's gonna affect all of the county, the citizens of this county. Right now, it's obvious and it's proven they're not getting a fair share in District 1 and 2 of the funds that we received in this county. And that's no hearsay or say-so. It shows in the budget, it shows in the money, shows in the expenditures of the money, that's where it's going. It's not going to where it needs to be. Let's make a difference. Okay, we can do that. We're better than this. We're better than this. We're losing too many kids, too many dropouts, too many going to prison. And it's because we're not involved with them. Okay? So I ask you again to implore you, let's get together, work as a community, and let's do something to change this image of that Northside Park.
Mike, if you notice there's something on the agenda tonight about the pool.
Okay.
But what else specifically are you talking about over there in the park?
We're talking, the help it is, and I would recommend, improvements, and that's why we're asking for the money to build a new pool, and then for some money and the SPLOST, the shelter, it needs to be closed in, okay? And that eliminates some of our problems. But it needs to be closed in so we have a place for these seniors, when they bring the children, they get hot, get overheated, they can go inside, cool off. We can have, see, I'm used to, if a child wants to play tennis, he can go in and check out a tennis racket, go play tennis, okay? If he wants to play volleyball, he goes in there, checks out a volleyball. There's nothing over there to support the youth this season. The pool is down, no recreation involvement for the youth, no games, no anything. The parents can go inside, they can play their bingo or whatever while the children play on the park. So we want the parents there to help supervise the children. We don't want them to drop them off and leave them. But as it is now, that's all we got. But we want the parents involved. They are willing to commit their time, volunteer their time to help manage it or whatever, but they are excited and they're looking for some help from y'all.
All right, thank you, Mike. Do anybody have a question for Mike?
His name's Larry.
Mike there.
His name's Mr. Larry.
There.
Oh, Larry. Michael's the other.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Gene Moore with Ernest J. Parker Pool and SPLOST is here. Right here.
Good evening. I'll be short, sweet too. I got a little material here that as I go along, you wanna be, I usually don't get involved too much with stuff.
Mr. Gary, you gonna have to talk into that mic.
I usually don't get involved too much. I got some age on me where I just like to be left alone and do my job and do my yards, and then I just go home. But it has come to my attention that some things just whenever I see things just not right, I feel an obligation to speak about it, and that's why I'm here today. Now, the handout that I gave you guys, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Appleton County Branch NAACP as president, interim. So what we got, Larry, the hand that I gave out was come from the 2020 audit. Come out of this audit. We picked up the audits, and that leaflet on page 43 comes out of this 2020 audit. Don't know who did the audit because the auditor didn't leave his name. I didn't find it, but it's there. So I have a copy of the 2017 audit. I have a copy of the 2018 audit, 2019, and the 2020 audit. 2017, 2018 is totally different than the one pages y'all got. But the first thing I want to do is just hand you a copy of, speaking about the pool, I want to show you, I want to give you a little bit of this history of Mr. Ernest James Parker. Yes, sir. Let me see that there. Yeah. That's a little history of Mr. Ernest James Parker and his due diligence. He made sure that the neighborhood and the people over there on the north side had the barbershop and all different things that they had.
Thank you.
And everybody grew up with the history of the North Side Park on that side of town. Thank you, Larry. And so, as you read the history of Mr. Ernest James Parker, you can get a little bit of the history of how this came to be. So as you read that, I want to make a request and put it on the record. And I request that since Mr. Ernest James Parker started, put that pool in there in 1967, the State of Georgia Historical Society says if there's a landmark or a site that is 50 years old or more, it can be considered as a historical site. So I request to the county commissioners that we can set aside the Ernest James Parker Park pool as a historical site. I don't know if you guys have applications, but I will be glad to get one and fill it out. But if y'all don't, then according to the Georgia Historical Society says that you guys can take a vote on it. So I want to clear that one. The third thing that I wanted to speak about is something just ain't right with this board. Something just not right. That's my opinion. And when I started to look at all the things that is happening, I started to go back and look at the ACC, the Code of Conduct of the Board of Commissioners in the state of Georgia. Okay. So that right there is a copy, the mission and the Code of Ethics for county commissioners in the state of Georgia.
Thank you.
And so as I go down the line, I'm just going to do 3 of these. To continue to make, as the duly elected or designated commissioners of this Georgia county, which is members in good standing, these are the rules. To continue to make honesty the keystone of our efforts by being always mindful of our oath of office and be practicing honesty and impartiality in all actions. Number 2, to keep the public informed on county operations and activities, since we believe that county business is every public business. Number 3, to expand all county income economically for the greatest good of all county residents. Those are only 3 that I'm looking at right now. And based upon what I know and see, we fell in that. We fell in the community. And another thing I don't understand is, and I'm being fast, is equality is supposed to be across the board. But what I seen last week is making me think different, because at the time we decided to close Southside Pool, north side pool. We decided to close it, only to open for the other pool that was having some problems. He was gonna open it then. But then I go and I look into the paper. Now, these pools supposed to be closed, right? I goes and look into the paper and I see where we're having a cookout. The county, it says the county is having a cookout on the south side, Saturday, July the 2nd. The county will be cooking for the public at Mike's Dean Pool, a pool that's closed. Who authorized that pool to be open? Just asking. I don't know who voted on it, but it says the county. Something ain't right. You have a party over there on the south side, but what about the little children over here on the north side? They don't even have a food, but they're like a hot dog. Something ain't right. So you see where I'm going. Now I'm about to wind this up. I goes and I look at these audits, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. 2017, 18, and 19 is done, and I want to answer these questions. I want to be able to sit down with you guys, and I want you to tell me how this happened. Because right now we in some problems here. Harris and Company did the 3 audits. Harris and Company. And you know what Harris and Company is? It says Harris and Company reports, and they're done under the under government auditing standards. They do it the right way. 3 years. We went 17, 18, and 19. I want to know how 2020 we changed up to another auditor.
Because that company sold out.
That's what happened. I was just wondering. And so it talks about, in the report, it talks about the discrepancies. This is Harris and Company. They went out of business. But for 3 years straight, they had the same report. And the report was that everything was not being accounted for as far as the finances. Right there. Too many hands was on, this is what they said. Internal control exists when the design or the operations of a control does not allow management or employees in the normal course of performing their assigned function to prevent or detect correct misstatements on a timely manner. So we went over.
We let you know we made 5 minutes, but thank you so much.
Okay.
Does anybody have any comments or questions for Mr. Moore?
Gary, what else you got to talk about?
The only thing I have left, I have one more. Lots of this money is going toward health, millions, health and welfare. Ain't no money being sent nowhere. Culture and recreation, millions. Where's that money at? And the last thing, housing and development. Where is that money at? There's none of it going on the north side. I don't know where anything else, but the people on the north side of town, they can't even get a grant to renovate their houses or do anything. But millions and millions of dollars are going in these reports. And even the auditor says the Appleton County Hospital and the department, the department of the clinic is being done by a different auditor. Why is that? Why is there's 2 different auditors for the county commission board?
Don't have one.
Could it be that we don't own it? I'm done. I finished, and I thank y'all for hearing me.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. You're welcome. We'll move on to old business. 2023 budget approval. I think, Mike, you going to comment on that some?
We need to just approve it as it is. We have to have a posted in the office and give time for public input. But we can probably pass it next meeting. But we just need to, I need to make sure that it's in the form that needs to be and everybody's comfortable with it on this commission.
What is the actual date that it's actually required to be approved?
Before the end of this budget year, which is October.
Do we need to have a work session on Mike?
I think we're good. We've had our sessions. I think it's okay.
We've had 2 or 3 sessions on it already.
I will be discussing it with some citizens that want to go over a few things on Thursday, if y'all want to join us. 1 o'clock on Thursday.
This Thursday? This Thursday?
Right.
A meeting.
We all read it, Mike.
Either in here, it's according to how big the group is, either in here or in
What's Thursday, 14th?
Well, looking through it,
At 1 o'clock?
if we need a motion for it, basically I found it to be in order. Pending any other changes that might come about between now and then.
Right.
Final approval.
Well, go ahead and make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the 2023 proposed budget.
That's right.
Have a motion on the floor for the 2023 budget approval. Do I have a second?
I second it, but I think there's an item in there that we've got to take out, but we'll talk about that later.
What's that?
All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries unanimous. Thank y'all. Item B is lost.
We've met on several occasions with the city and with the 2 smaller cities. I think we're pretty much in agreement. The city has given up a little bit of money on one occasion, and that we've increased a certain percent to them. So I think we're okay to sign that also. I think we're in agreement.
Mike, what was that percentage? What was that percentage of giving the city? What's that percentage we giving the city?
37.5.
And then still 2% City of Graham and City of Swansea.
That's correct. We met with them, both of those cities, and they felt that they could not give up anything and keep up the service in their community that they have been given for the past few years. And I agree with them. It's a small amount, 2%.
Hey, Mike, and that 37.5%, that's what the city originally asked for, right?
39.
No,
39?
I think initially they asked for 41 and come down to 39, and now we're down at 37.5, and they give a little bit, and we give a little bit. And I'll be the first to say the relationship between Appleton County and the city of Baxley is excellent. As far as I see, it's much better than the community that I come from. We deal back and two together a lot. We help each other. I have not called them on one occasion, but they hadn't come through for me. So it's a good relationship.
You want to go ahead and vote on that?
So you need a motion for this also?
So go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Yes, Miss Sarah, you making that?
Yeah, I make that motion.
Miss Sarah makes a motion to go ahead and approve the loss. Do I have a second?
I second.
Darrell Evans, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries unanimous. Thank y'all. Item C is the splosh that we've been working on. We have met several times, and the committee's been meeting. I don't think we're quite ready with that over, Mike.
The committee is, I believe, through meeting, and they have a draft for us. So at some time, we need to get together and look over that draft and make our decision. Ultimately, it's up to the county commissioners to decide how that goes.
This is the 2024 splosh, is that correct?
Yes, I think the urgency is, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, the urgency is that it's on the ballot in November, so that needs to be.
Right.
We need to have a call meeting on it. Go ahead and finish it up.
We,
Could do it Thursday.
Probably a work session type.
And we have a work session on it.
You're not gonna be here Thursday.
I'll be in training Thursday.
Yeah, you'll be gone Thursday, right?
Yeah, I'm leaving in the morning.
we can do it before the next meeting if you wish. I'm just trying to make it convenient for you guys.
Let's see,
When you gonna be back?
Get together next Tuesday for a work session on it.
Saturday.
What about doing next Tuesday if everybody's
Miss Sarah
available?
shaking her head, yeah.
Yeah.
That suit everybody next Tuesday, a work session on it?
Yeah,
What time?
it's splash.
Whatever time y'all want to meet.
We can meet early, because it probably will take more than one session, so we can break.
2 o'clock,
That's good.
What time is there?
2 o'clock?
what was that date?
19th.
19th, okay.
It's a lot.
Splosh.
It's splash.
I'm on that board. Can I get a copy of the final draft? Can I pick up a copy of the final draft, because I can't remember what it was?
Mike Dow has it, I believe.
I don't even have a copy of it yet, but.
Wayne, do you have one?
The committee's here, got it.
Do you have one? Aren't you on that committee?
It's not a copy for me, but I agree that the chairman of the SPOS committee should provide us with it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will, yeah. He should. So next Tuesday, 3 o'clock,
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
What's that date?
19th.
19th.
Item D is African County Hospital Board nominees. I think they said we needed 6, is that correct, Mike? That's correct. Sarah, do you have, or Theodore, do you have anybody?
Not right now, though.
I want to
Sarah?
submit Nicole Lee's name.
Which seat are we
Which
talking
one
about
are
now?
we're talking about now? There are 2 people we got to have 3 for each one, ain't they?
Yeah,
You got to have 6 names.
Six names.
6
I was told they'd
names.
have 6 names.
you do 3 for each seat.
I thought we'd have 3 for
Three
each
for,
seat.
3
though.
per seat.
You do,
Yeah.
you do.
I'm on reappoint Cindy Tomlin.
All right, on that one, I'd like to put Brianna Igo.
I'm gonna resubmit Paul Rents for the other
I
term.
got a Collis Rooks, Collis Rooks.
All right, I got 4 names down.
5.
Nicole, Cindy, Brianna, and Paul. Who did I miss?
Nicole Lee.
Carlos Rooks.
Carlos Rook.
That's for Paul, that's for the Paul seat.
What's that
Yeah.
one you got?
All right, you need one more?
I'm going to
Yeah.
nominate Doug Harris. As much as we pouring into that committee, I think we need some representation on that board.
That'd be a conflict.
No,
I don't think so. I tried to look into it. I don't think it's a conflict.
We always had a board member on the.
Yeah, we've always had a board
on
member.
the hospital authority. We just stopped recently.
We haven't one lately, I know
We
of.
ain't not lately.
No.
Lee used to go to him back when he was manager.
Manager.
Yeah.
Do we have an ex officio? I'm not sure, no. I think I might be, but if we have an ex officio, you're automatically somebody from this board. And you don't have to go through the process of being elected by the board.
I think that would be the manager or chairman position on ex officio
Or designate.
or designate.
You're right.
Well, are you taking Doug's name off
No, I don't leave
for
Doug's
the
name on
appointment? 'Cause do you need another one or you got enough?
there. That gets to six.
You got six?
But the problem you're gonna have is if you put Doug's name in one of these, you got sitting board members, and your chances are not near as good as if he does
Ex officio.
Ex officio.
Ex officio.
Right.
Oh,
and
you
I
need,
think you can appoint an ex officio.
oh, yeah.
Well, maybe we should do that as well then, if that's the way we're gonna do it.
Then what you're saying is we need
We
to
need
take
one more name.
Doug's name back
Yeah,
off
another
of the
name.
list.
That's right. You
Okay.
need one more.
All right, well, Wally Sapp.
That's for the rents position.
Yeah, for the rents.
Okay.
Maybe I got mine wrong. It was Nicole, which one's the other?
Got
That would be the Cindy Tomlin.
Cindy Tomberlin, Nicole Lee, and Brianna Igo on one. Paul Rents.
Paul Rents off that one.
No.
No,
Not
It's in the
yet.
second.
The other seat is Paul Rents, Carlos Rooks, and Wally Sapp.
I got it.
And then the manager's going to check into the ex officio if we have a
Wait.
designee from here.
Unless happens to be, the county always has an ex officio.
Yeah.
On any board.
Yeah.
Got one on the, yeah.
Yeah, no matter what board it is in the county.
I can make that happen.
I think it actually does need to be in the form
Yeah,
of a
we have to
motion.
vote on them.
Do have to vote on it?
Right,
That's what All right, everybody's got the names in, need a motion that we accept, send these on to the authority. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Sarah made the motion, second. Theodore, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries unanimous. Under new business, item A, Ernest J. Parker Pool and Park update. Mike's gonna fill us in on that.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned at what we heard tonight, but let me give a little explanation. If a new pool is put in the SPOS budget for that park, you're talking about 5 years. We got the money. Mr. Wilkerson and I worked on getting the money to fix that pool. The guy that I got to look at it said that pool's in good shape. He can fix it for a small amount of money. We put a lot amount of money in that pool in the past. We got a good filtering system. We got a lot of equipment, chlorinating system that's virtually brand new. And the problem with that pool is the drain in the bottom. And I think he's already got that fixed. So if we want a pool, and we've got the $50,000 already in hand to work on it, I got two options. I can work on getting that pool open so we can swim in it the rest of this year and the next couple of years, or I can send the money back to the state.
What about the money that's set aside at $450,000?
Gary, that $450,000 was for the pool, new construction of a pool on the 2018 SPLOST. And that money, those funds were spent on the new pool.
They was taken and put over there, that was not authorized over there.
At the same time, you look on that paper, at the same time, that money was set aside.
He wanted
There
earmark for
was
that.
two other entities that was represented. Two others was on there, they got fixed, built.
All right, let's move on. Doug,
The library and,
do y'all want to vote on going ahead and opening up that pool or sending money back to the state?
Mr. Chairman, we didn't really come here for that today, I don't believe now. We just come in to make a discussion, see what we could do. If that was the case, we could have, before we could have made a feasibility check before we even got this far, really. Because in that, it was discussed, I mentioned that we need to do some study on this project before we get too far gone. Now we got everybody involved in this thing, now you want to back out, so we're going to spend $50,000 or send it back to the state. We need to make up our mind what we want to do.
Well, I'm willing to fix that pool and have it open and be swimming.
Well, here's something we need to think about too, that Mr. Moore brought up about that it was a historical site. If it is, you can't tear it up.
It's not designated yet.
No, that's what I'm saying. If it's designated, you can't tear it up. So we got to fix it.
Right now.
I'll make a motion to fix the pool and go ahead and open it up so we can use it the rest of the year.
Have a motion on the floor to fix the pool.
Question.
The allocations for
I got a question. Is it in the splash to be prepared, replaced in 5 years?
Is it in the spot? No,
Yeah.
there's no money appropriated at this time to do one of that.
So in other words,
Take a look at that based on the last meeting they had. Take a look
So-
at that and verify that.
so if there's no splash, and it's not involved in the splash, so what's the purpose of spending $50,000?
to open up pools so they can use it.
For how long?
As long as you want to.
As long as we want to let it stay open, I guess. It's up to y'all.
You ain't got a penny. Really?
I understand that, but this thing first started out, we said we was gonna shut down both pools.
That's correct, but then
Then,
they run behind on getting that the new pool finished. We were told that the pool at Northside, Ernest J. Parker, was a safety hazard, so we couldn't open it. We couldn't take the liability.
We
Mr. Mayor,
actually voted
Mr.
to condemn that pool.
Yes, we did. But
To
we were
close it.
told that it was unsafe.
At the time,
By a
that's correct.
pool expert.
not by our pool expert, by our employee.
No, the pool guy was here that night.
No,
and
he didn't.
told-
No,
No, he didn't. He didn't tell us that.
Will was the one that told us. that
Wilt told us all that.
Ms. Sarah,
Yes.
it's my recommendation that SPOS may have money in to replace the pool. It's my understanding that the general fund is budgeted and borrowing from that SPOS, so you can go ahead and put it in the general fund budget and recoup that money from SPOS on that investment. That's how I kind of understand the discussion.
I thought they had told me that they had appropriated money in that splosh for a new pool.
That's what I
That's
want to
what,
know.
that was my understanding from one of them on that committee.
That's all I want to know. Got the money appropriated for in the splash for it.
Well, it's not decided yet.
I understand that, but is it a proposal to put it in the splash?
Yes.
We asked $556,000 on the splash for the pool. So that should be in the splash, report.
All right, we're gonna have to move on because the man back there recording, he can't hear y'all. So what do y'all want to do about opening that pool?
Can we revisit this, Mike? I mean, 450.
What do y'all want to do about opening up this pool at this $50,000?
We need to open it up because we call back, if they send that money back, you ain't gonna get no more help. You can forget
Well,
it.
that's true. If we send the money back, we won't get no more.
But how long do we have before we have to send the money back? I mean, is there a time limit on sending back the $50,000?
No, not necessarily, I don't think, Miss Sarah, but we're just trying to get the pool open or to have somewhere to go.
Well, we're gonna talk about it next Thursday, this Thursday. We'll have the SPOS report in front of us. So why don't we wait and see?
Some of that, excuse me. Some of that money hasn't been spent.
I started to say, they've been working on it, the money, some of it's
I
spent.
started working on it when I first got here.
You started working on the pool.
Yeah, certain members of the community wanted that pool open because they didn't want to have to go all the way across town. It was not safe. That's what they told me. But as it's been, I guess.
Mr. Chairman, I really don't have a problem with the pool being temporary worked on right now, but my concern is about having on the splash. That's what where I wanted it. Because we could wait several years for a new pool.
Wayne, you're on that committee. You say it's on there, right? But now we have to approve it.
You
I know
have to
that.
approve it. What's on that list is what's recommended by the SPLOST committee. To look at it don't mean one thing until this board.
Well, I know that. We know that it has to be approved by this board, but I was just trying to make sure that it was on that splosh.
That's what I say, just verify that. My notes indicate it is, and Jerry indicates it is, but I don't have the official final draft here, he does.
And I do that. I'm on that.
Well, we don't need a Mr.
Look at-
We don't even have it yet. They have not sent it to us, so I don't know.
Who's
how
the
we talk
president?
about
Mike? Is the president Mike?
Right,
I don't know how we talk about something we don't know nothing about. We haven't even seen it yet.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we'll go ahead and accept the $50,000 for repairs, but we still like to see put on the splash referendum for the next 24 year 24. I mean, I have a problem. I mean, the money, we hate to just send the money back just because we don't agree on everything. But if we could just make sure that we eventually get a pool on the splash, that's all I'm asking.
Well, that's just yet to be seen, but now, you know,
I know.
what we need to do tonight is make a decision as to whether or not we can get the pool back open in a timely manner for this season.
That's what I just suggested.
Okay.
But I'm just asking that we sort of look at seriously putting it on the splash. That's all I'm asking.
Well, that's going to be a consideration.
No, I mean, that's all it can be.
Yeah.
But
Mr. Chairman, the money is all.
So what do y'all want to do about the pool?
Mr. Wilton, what are you saying about 3 weeks?
I said, well, we got 3 weeks left before the pool's been shut down.
yeah, so really, it's not we're not work with it this year. We still could repair it, I reckon.
Yeah, we can leave it open.
Well, the thing I think, Wilton, is they want to go ahead and do it as a city, make sure everything works, field, all that kind of stuff, and they even open up on weekends some, just to get it checked out. Is what they want to do. Which I feel like is a good idea. You need to get it checked out, make sure it's gonna work before you can open it up. So y'all know what y'all want, you want to open that pool up?
We got the money, so we might as well use it, I believe.
Is that a form of a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion.
Theodore makes a motion, we go ahead and open the pool up. I have a second.
I'll second it.
Doug, you second. Doug second. All in favor, raise your right hand.
So y'all sure this pool's gonna be safe?
It will be safe.
We go, supposedly, we go get somebody
Pools don't wear out.
So we're
certified.
$450,000.
All right, I've got a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries unanimous.
Mr. Mike, can you tell me where the 450 from the 20?
Sir, I'll be glad to talk with you after the meeting, but right now, we got to conduct the meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay, the public area with the river landings, what that was, we had some people that were putting campers down at Dean's Landing, and it states can't be there more than 3 days. So we got, who went down there, and Dwight went down there and talked with them, showed them the paper, and said they'd have to move out, and so they moved out. That's all settled and over with. So that's really all we got on that part of that.
All the rocks are right down.
He meant Carter's, Bright.
What did I say, Dean's Landing? I meant Carter's back, yeah. Carter's back where we had the issue with the trailers.
Out in the parking lot.
I can't hear you, sir.
Out in the parking lot, where was that?
Now, what?
Where were they parking the campers when I'm at?
Right there at the picnic area.
In the picnic area, okay. What am I saying?
He illegally parked them in the picnic area.
All right.
Does our ordinance cover that, Mike?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we looked it up and it's all covered.
okay, thank you.
Well, they were using our electricity. They had 2 spigots down there, 2 trailers. Both of them was hooked up to the 2 spigots. So if somebody went there and went camping and wanted to wash their pot or something, they couldn't even do it without unscrewing their camper. They were illegally tied into our sewer system. They took the clean out plug out. They put their pipe into the sewer system, which is terribly illegal, letting out all kind of gases. But make a long story short, Dwight went down and the sheriff's department went down. It's been handled, been took care of.
Okay.
Are we down to, Mark?
No, bid of road repairs
That's been taken off.
taken off, okay.
Yeah, that was the delete too. We talked about that last time and there's nothing on it, so that's a delete.
All right.
Sheriff's report, Mark, do you have anything to see in here? I couldn't see you sitting back there, Mark.
Just real quick, Wednesday, the 20th, 21st, 22nd, we'll be having Sheriff's Summer Camp for youth 10 to 13, I believe is the age 10 to 14. I think we're pretty close to having that full. It'll be conducted at the Ag Center. And we're looking forward to having a pretty good crowd of kids. I think about 25 or 30 will be there. And give them an opportunity to enjoy some of the summer and give us an opportunity to work with them and to put into some of our youth in the community. So we're excited about that.
What was the date on that, Mark?
20th, 21st, and 22nd. So
Thank
it'll be
you.
next week.
What's the age group on that, Mark?
I believe it's 10 to 14.
Wasn't it in the paper?
It was, been in the paper a couple times. It's been on our Facebook page, so, we had last year we had a little younger group, but we decided it was a little bit too difficult to handle those real small kids, so going with a little, older group, but, that's, that's really all I have at this point, nothing much going on other than just routine stuff in the county.
Thanks, Mark.
Sheriff, did the folks come and do the demonstration for the scanner?
We went over there.
Oh, okay.
Wayne County's, we went to their facility and we went through watched them operate it and worked on it and, saw how it operated. We'd already done that prior to the meeting, to the last meeting.
Okay, did they get us a formal proposal as far as a bid?
Yeah, I give it to Mike.
Okay.
Yeah. So y'all should have that.
All right, thank you, sir.
Anything else? Thank
Thank
y'all.
you, Mark. Recreation, Will, you got anything?
I got just a couple of things, though, so I'll let you say you guys.
Good evening, everybody.
Okay.
I was just gonna mention to you guys, next week, we got our state swim team will be going to Tifton on the 22nd and the 23rd for the state swim meet. It'll be a 2-day event. And also next week, our golf team will be traveling up to Albany, Georgia on the 19th for the state golf meet. And the third thing I had would be the tennis team. All of this is next week. The tennis team will be leaving on the 19th and be through the 21st. They will be going to Mocher, Georgia. So we got tennis, golf, and swimming. I'll be traveling next week, going up to participate in the state tournaments. And I will give you guys a report back in August about how we turn out, how everything turned out. Anybody got any questions for the Recreation Department?
The tennis courts behind the city gym up here they're in bad shape, right?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
We need to do something with those tennis courts, because I went by there the other day and there's quite a few playing tennis on those courts. I didn't stop because I didn't want to hear it, but those tennis courts are in bad shape. I don't know what to me, I think we need an overlay. I mean, I don't know anything about paving, but it looks like to me they need to go in there and,
Yes, ma'am. They need to
do
be
some more paving,
resurfaced.
resurface the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
All of them is cracking like that. The ones at
Yeah.
E.J. Parker, the ones over at Max Dean, and also at the city gym. All three of them is just cracking. And so, we basically need all three of them to be resurfaced. We talked about it a while back, but it didn't go nowhere.
We never did do anything about it.
No, ma'am.
Gordon, is that a process elimination with the tennis, golf, and the swim team? Or have they been participating?
Yes, sir. They've been.
One step.
Yes, sir. They've been doing it all year. They actually started back and when we got out of school in May, like the last week in May when they got out. So basically, it would be the first week in June. That's when they started participating, and they participated at 5 events, and then you qualify from that point to the district, and then from district to state, just like we do with track and field and all other events. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Wilton, Sarah mentioned about the tennis courts. Are you hearing much response about pickleball?
Yes, I have several guys that have contacted me, and I think they have contacted me when Hayden was the county manager at the time, and talked to us about that. And we, I want to say we painted one court down here at the city gym, and we painted one over at Max Dean at that time because actually we didn't know how big it was, and he said he wanted to really just paint all the courts because they was wanting to paint about like 4 courts over here and then paint the 2 that was over there. So he said, let's start off just small and just do the 2. So, but right now we just got 2, but I had 2 people to call me, I think, last week about that.
Yes,
Has anybody been using the wiffle ball?
Pickleball? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Pickleball? Yes, sir. You go over on Saturday, and Max Dean, they have probably like 3 teams playing on both courts, and then they got people on the side waiting.
It's a big thing. Pretty big.
I think we need to get a price on resurfacing them tennis courts if somebody gets hurt out there.
Well, it looked poor.
It's bad.
Well, we're talking about maintenance. That'd be a good place to start for some maintenance for the tennis courts.
A little bit of advice, if you're gonna redo them, reclaim them, grind them up, and start new.
Start
It
over.
costs you a little bit more money, but you'll save a ton in the long run. If you patch a crack, tennis court, it's gonna re-crack within a year.
Well, anybody got any other questions?
Please still copy that.
Thank you, Will.
All right, thank y'all.
Road and bridges, Brooks, you got anything?
Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. I'll update you on the 911 signs here real quick. The company Big Green Signs we're using out of Dublin, they shut down their operations in Dublin. They have now set back up in Alpharetta. And we've made contact back with them, and we've got another big order ready to be sent out. And we'll get those up, and hopefully that'll just about cover it, other than some ones we've recently found out that were stolen. So we'll have to get those reordered as well. That's kind of unfortunate there. Moving on, MLK Drive, the sidewalk repair turned out to be a pretty good job on it. We had to rebuild the shoulder down to the Randy Lane, and this is the MLK that's off of Poor Robin, runs back over to Harry Street. We rebuilt the entire shoulder on that sidewalk, and also we had a section of that cement walkway that was pretty badly undermined, so we just replaced that section of cement. When the contractors come in on that one, the sidewalk was actually poured a little bit too high, higher than the road. So water is kind of standing there on the side of the roadway up against that sidewalk. And eventually, of course, water is going to find a way to go, and it just cut under the sidewalk in that section. What we did there, we just kind of bellied that sidewalk out. So now that water can get up over the top of that sidewalk and get to the ditch. So hopefully that won't be an issue in the future. We did get the grass sown on it, and had some heavy rain to come in after that, and some of that seed got washed away. We will go back and reseed that, and hopefully that thing will be in good shape now. We will keep an eye on it, and if it has any kind of future problems, we do have a plan to get any other issues in there fixed. But looks pretty good right now. South Main Street, we did complete the repairs on South Main Street as well. We poured concrete across there to make sure that road is good and stabilized in the future. There was an irrigation line that was also running across South Main Street that had a leak. That was repaired, and I said the roadway is repaired. We did have to have that road closed for a couple of days, but everything is good as far as that goes. Do have a little bit of business to attend to for the landfill. I got this a little bit too late to get on the agenda this time, but maybe this is something y'all can possibly put on the agenda for the next time. Their bulldozer out there, it's going to have a replacement on the tracks. We do already have the bids. Y'all may just want to address that in your next work session or however y'all want to handle it. But we do have the bids done on it. And those tracks will definitely have to be replaced. So y'all can handle that however you need to. The last thing I've got is fuel usage out there at the road department. Of course, as we all know, we drive by the fuel pumps. The cost of fuel has gone pretty much outrageous. We've had a little bit of a break here recently, but nothing that's really helping us out too much out here at the road department. Of course, we do burn a lot of fuel. Just kind of go over what we found in kind of analyzing our fuel cost. In the last year, our fuel out there, the cost has increased 105%. We went from May of 2021 using about $27,000 a month to now being at $55,000 a month. That diesel runs pretty expensive, and we use a lot of it. And of course, $55,000 a month, you get that over the course of a year, that's really expensive, over our budget. So in knowing that, I did contact several other counties, Toombs, Tattnall, Long, Glen, Brantley, Pierce, Bacon, Coffee, Jeff Davis. And each one of those I talked to, I figured maybe they got good ideas as well. Their recommendations to me and what they've done as well, I talked to some of them in detail, is instead of the 5-day week, they've gone back to the 4-10s, and that's where they've stayed. In knowing that, I just didn't take it blind and say that's the best way to go about it. We could go back and analyze costs. On the last time we went from 5/8s to 4/10s, and we ended up saving year to year about $88,000 roughly over the course of a year by going from 5/8s to 4/10s. So that's pretty significant. And back then, 2010, 2011, when you figure in the cost of regular unleaded and diesel, you're looking at about $3.50 a gallon. It's a whole lot more expensive than $3.50 a gallon now, especially diesel. So it's just something that y'all may want to think about, decide on. Maybe we can go back, if y'all may want to stay on 5/8s or maybe go to 4/10s, however y'all may want to handle it. But 4/10s definitely would save us a lot of money as far as our fuel cost.
We've actually let the road department go to 4/10s before, just for that reason.
Right.
You know, and I don't have a problem with you going back to 4/10s now. You're gonna have to change it once winter comes, because of the, dark night, but I don't have a problem with y'all going to 4/10s, not at all.
And we'll only go back to standard time one more time, and then from there on out, it's permanent daylight savings time, so.
Brooks, have you polled the county employees out at the shop?
Yes, it's always been a big favor of going 4/10s anyway. And of course, it's something I thought of, but when you start signing those POs for fuel bills every month, and you start coming up with ideas, getting creative. Of course, I'm born, raised, live here, work here. I'm a taxpayer as well, and I want to make sure that these people out here and these people in this county get their bang for their buck for their tax dollars. And we're saving them every penny we can and using our money wisely.
For Brooks, in what way, from going from 5/8s to 4/10s, are we gonna save that much money on fuel?
Well, for one thing, that's one more day that you're not going out to the job site, in from the job site. That's a big fuel savings right there, and alone in itself. It's just one less day of operation. And another thing too, we found that we're a lot more efficient working 10-hour days than 8-hour days. Say I gotta cut a paved road out, that's gonna be more than an 8-hour job. I mean, that's gonna be easily 10 hours. Now, if we're on 5/8s, we're pulling overtime. We're on 410s, chances are we're not. That's another cost savings right there. So, like I said, we've spent a good probably 2 weeks looking at this thing. I've talked to a bunch of people from other counties, and they highly recommended it. Some said they'd never go back to 5/8s again, ever. So, it's something y'all may just want to consider. However y'all want to handle it.
At what time would you, what kind of time frame are you talking about? Should that be considered? When, basically?
Tonight?
I would go as soon as possible. Because, I mean, every day we're ringing the bell up there at the fuel pumps. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Are you prepared to do it basically immediately?
Yes. It would be probably easier at the beginning of a pay period, just because of the way time goes. Of course, that would be next week, next Thursday. And if there's any concerns about nobody being there Friday, I can ease those. I mean, we're 24/7, 365. It don't matter if those gates are open or closed out or not. We go out weekends, middle of the night. Don't matter. We're always there when we're needed. And we always have people on call.
Anybody else? No, Bruce?
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
This time I need a motion to close regular session, go into executive session.
I'll make a motion.
Carl Leggett made a motion, have a second.
A second.
Darrell Everett, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. To discuss personnel.
And that discussion on this spot should this Thursday.
Need a motion to close the executive session and open the regular session.
I'll make the motion.
Darrell Everett made the motion.
I'll
Charles
second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Theodore, do you vote? Carried unanimous. We was discussing in there our probate judge. Maybe some of y'all hadn't heard it, but she is resigning as of, and I'm gonna let Tracy take it over from here because I don't know all the particulars about it.
It's with great regret that we were notified today, July 11th, that Judge Diane Holman, who's served our community for 45 years as our probate court judge, has decided due to declining health to resign her office as probate court judge. She oversaw that court for a long time, I guess since I've been about 9 years old, and did it with a lot of grace, and was just the epitome of what you would expect a South Georgia probate court judge to do. It's a sad day for Appleton County to be notified of this. She submitted her resignation to Governor Brian Kemp. As of now, we have not received notice that he's accepted that resignation, but in lieu of that, the commissioners, pursuant to statute, will have to vote on qualifying fees as well as a base salary for the interim. According to Georgia state statute, we do not have an associate probate court judge, so therefore the interim will go to Ms. Gretchen Johnson Bailey. She is the chief probate court clerk, and she has been notified that effective the 1st of August, she will be our interim judge. In an effort to expedite the election process so that we can have a special election to be commensurate with our general election in November, notice will be provided to the newspaper to determine a qualifying date. Ms. Shonda Carter will take care of that. I'll need the board to vote on a salary for the interim pursuant to statute. This board has to determine what that salary would be for the month of August, September, and October. The newly elected judge of probate court will assume office as soon as the election is certified, and her salary, his or her salary is established by statute, so pleasure of the board.
The salary for Ms. Diane, base salary is $55,344.71, and we all feel like that we're going to have to pay the interim the same. Do you want to vote on that separate, or do the qualifying fees the same time? Separate. So do I have a motion that we pay the $55,344.71?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Charlie, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carried unanimous. The other one is the qualifying fee. The qualifying fee we'll have to set is $1,660.34. So I need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Carol Evans makes a motion, I have a second. Doug Harris, second. All in favor, raise your right hand. There's no more action taken in the meeting. Is that yours too? Does any commissioner have anything at this time?
When are we going to give Brooks a answer on our 4-day work week, 4 10s?
When did you say it needed to be done on Michael? By
Payroll, if we have to, if it's something we're gonna do, it needs to be done on that payroll time.
When's this payroll cycle?
Thursday.
When? Thursday.
In the winter months, ain't we gonna have to go back to 8-day?
8-hour days.
8-hour day?
Work session on that. We have in the past.
The days are mighty short, and summer's 2/3 gone. Why would we want to change it now?
Well, if we can save $50,000-$60,000 between now and then, maybe.
Well, that
it's only
depends.
that.
I think we need to give Mr. Mike an opportunity to look at all of these figures and let him kind of run the figures by him and determine whether we need to do it or whether we don't. Don't you?
Sure,
Is that okay?
It'd be hard for them to, when time changes, to get in 10 hours a day.
Oh, yeah, it couldn't, and that's what I said. We need to let Mr. Mike have time to, before we make a decision, to look over all the hours and the dates and the figures and the expense of everything and see which way is the best way to go, and then make a decision.
Could you have that, possibly Mr. Mike deal by, we're gonna do the meeting
Thursday and Tuesday.
the next Tuesday, yeah.
Next Tuesday.
I'll be back the next Tuesday. Can you have it by then?
Yes.
Possibly?
Yes.
Do we have to vote on that, or is that just an administrative thing that the manager could take care of?
I'd be glad to take care of it if y'all want to give me that authority.
Well, if you give us that information next week, then, we
Sure.
wouldn't have to vote on it.
Right.
We could just let him do it, so let's.
Can we do a trial?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else got anything? Appreciate all y'all coming. Have a good evening. We'll see you next trip.